woman that can take your spotlight. If I wrote you a symphony, just to say how much you mean to me, what would you do? If I told you you were beautiful, would you date me on the regular? Tell me, would you? Well, baby, I've been around the world, but I ain't seen myself another girl like you. This ring here represents my heart.
Hi creative designers, welcome back. So these are the measurements I used for this two-piece, so just write them down somewhere and let's go ahead and start making the top parts. Now I have my fabric here folded into two, and the first thing I'm going to do is show you guys the length. And the length I'm using for this top is 20 inches, and then because of the hemming allowance I'm going to make it 21 inches. So what I'm marking down on my fabric is 21 inches. So this fabric already is folded into two. Remember to do that, and then mark down the length of your top. Now the next thing I'm going to do is divide the shoulder measurements by 2, and I'm going to mark that down on the top of my fabric. Now her shoulder measurement divided by 2 is 7. That's her shoulder is 14 inches divided by 2 is 7. So I'm marking down 7 here, and from the point where I mark the 7 inches, I'm just going to mark 1 inch down for the slope. You know, the shoulder is not straight, it's slopey. 1 inch down. Now from that 1 inch, I'm just going to rule a line to connect to the neckline. So what I'm doing is connecting the slope to the neckline, so you should do that on your fabric. And the next thing for us to do is divide the armhole measurement by 2 and mark that down from the slope. So go ahead and find out what your round armhole is and divide the measurement by 2 and mark that down from the slope. Now I'm just going to rule an horizontal line out from the point I just indicated down, and also connect the slope straight down to the points for the armhole. So moving on, we're just going to go ahead and mark out 1 inch from this point, and this is just going to enable me create the curve for the armhole. Now the next thing for me to do is mark the bust points, and I'm just going to place the tape from the top of the fabric and go down by 11 inches to mark her bust points. And what I'll do now is rule an horizontal line to indicate that this is the bust line. So the length is going to be acting as the waistline, so there's no need for me to indicate. I have the length there already. Now the next thing for me to do is divide her round bust by 4 and mark it down on the bust line. So go ahead and divide your round bust by 4 and mark it down on the bust line. And I'm just going to add 1 inch sewing allowance to this. So the allowance I'm using for the sewing is 1 inch. And what I'll do is just connect that line straight to the armhole like this, and we are done with this part. I'll move over to the waistline and divide her round waist by 4 and mark that down on the waistline. So this is the waistline. I'm just going to divide her round waist by 4 and I'll mark that down on the waistline. And I also add 1 inch sewing allowance, just as I did on the bust line. And I'm just going to go ahead and connect both points together. So you should have all this line indicated on your fabric, your bust line, your waistline, and then you divide your round bust and then you divide your round waist. Now I'm just going to cut out this. So this is the back piece, and I'll be showing you guys how I'll be drafting out the front piece, but this is the back piece and very easy to create, right? So this is the back. I'm just going to indicate that, and this is the wrong side of the fabric also. Now we're going to mark the neck width for this top, and the neck width I'll be using is 3.5 inches. Remember that the neck width for the front and the back is always the same, so I'm just going to mark the 3.5 here, and then I'll mark the neck depth of 1 inch down for the back piece. So that is how deep the back neck line would be, 1 inch down. I'll connect both points together with the curve. You guys know the drill, it's always like this. Once I have that indicated, I'll go ahead and cut it out. So you guys, we're done with the back piece. Don't forget to cut out this part. Don't skip that. Make sure you do that, okay? Now this is our back piece, and let's go ahead and cut out the front piece. Now cutting out the front cowl neck, have your fabric folded into two. So have your fabric folded into two, and this is what we're going to do. Please watch this part carefully. I'm going to place the back piece on the folded part, that is where you have the closed edge on the fabric. And what I will do now is I'll make sure all parts sit together, and I'm just going to move the shoulder. I'm making sure that the waistline does not move. So it is advisable for you to pin the waist to the fabric so it doesn't move. So when you move your shoulder, your waistline does not move. So I'm just going to repeat this again. I'm just going to place this like this, and I'll move the shoulder and the armhole like this. So the more you move this, the more deep you get for your cowl neck. So if you want your cowl neck to be deeper, just keep moving until you probably run out of fabric. But anyway, this is where I'm going to be stopping. This particular outfit I'm making is for a client, and now I have that indicator. What I will do is I'm just going to rule a straight line for the cowl neck. I'm just connecting the back neckline straight to this fabric like this. And I also trace the armhole. What we're practically going to do is trace all part of this top. After moving, make sure the fabric sits like that, and then you trace out the armhole, you trace out the sides. Just make sure you place something heavy on the back piece, holding it to the fabric, or you can use like a heavy book or something heavy to place on your fabric so it doesn't move while you trace. So we're just going to trace everything out. We're tracing out the sides, the waist, and yeah, like that. Now that is done, I'm just going to take out my back piece, and this is my cowl neck for the front. I'm just going to cut out what I have traced, and that is what I'll be using for the cowl neck for this two piece. So hope you guys understood the steps. Really easy. Just out your back. Now use your back to place on the folded fabric, and all you have to do is make sure that the waist part is sitting at where you have the folded edge on your fabric, and just move the shoulder and the armhole. Move it as far as you want, and then get the deep cowl neck you want. And once you're satisfied, trace. And yeah, that is how we arrived at this point. Hope you guys got the summary. So this is what I'll be using for my cowl neck, and you guys, this is how deep the neckline will be. And what I need to do right now is sew the front and the back piece together. This is the back piece. I'm just going to place the front piece right side facing right side, and I'll place the shoulders together. Once I join the shoulder by 1/2 inch and the side by 1/2 inch, this is what I have. What I need to do now is hem the neckline by 1/2 inch. So I'm just going to fold this in twice and hem all around on the neckline. I'm not using facing, or I'm not using lining. This is just what I will do. I'll hem. What I need to do now is check the armhole for the sleeve. So I'll place the tape on the armhole like this. And I'm just going to find out what I have on the armhole, and I got 10 inches. Now let's create the sleeves. I have my fabric here folded into two. What I will do is I'm just going to mark 6 inches down from where I have the open edge of the fabric, and on top of my fabric here I'm just going to mark 2 inches in. And what I will do is also look for the middle point of this, and the middle point is 4.5. So I'm just going to connect this like this. I'll connect the 2 inches to the 6 inches I marked down. I hope you guys are getting this. If you need to pause or slow it down, whatever you need to do to understand what I'm doing, please do. And now once I have this point indicated, what I will do is I'm just going to connect with a line, then make a curve. I'll go ahead and create a curve. So now I have my curve indicated. I'll cut out the part that I need and take away the part I don't need. So after cutting out the part I need and taking out the part I don't need, I'll go down to the base of the sleeves. So I'm just going to mark the round base of my client, and after marking the round base on the length, I'll go back to the curve and I'll measure to get the 10 inches plus sewing allowance. So I'm marking 11 inches, and now I'll connect the 11 inches down to the base like this. And now we have created a sleeve for this top. Very easy. I'll cut out the part I don't need so I can go sew my sleeves together. I had the both sleeves folded together, so what I'll do is take out the right and the left, and I'll go sew by 1/2 inch. Before I go sew, I'll be attaching a band to this, and this is how I'll be attaching the band. I have a fabric cut out, and I'm just going to fold the fabric twice and join that to the base of the sleeves, and this is what it looks like. This is the result. I am done doing that, and this is the result. I have the 2 sleeves attached with the band, and now I have to go ahead and attach the sleeve to the top. Now cutting the skirt, the flace skirt. So I have my fabric here folded into 2 from the length, and I'll go ahead and fold again from the width into 2, so I have 4 layers of fabric. So when doing yours, make sure you have 4 layers of fabric. And now I'm going to mark the round waist. I'm using the round waist as the radius. So to mark the round waist, all I have to do is, after folding my fabric into 4 to get 4 layers of fabric, from the pointy close edge where all 4 fabrics meet and they're all pointy like this, I'll place the tape there and I'll mark 5 inches down, and I'm just marking this 5 inches round. Now I'm just going to create a curve like this. So this is going to be her round waist divided by 4. I've created a curve. What I need to do now is mark the length of the skirt. And the length I'll be using for this skirt is 19 inches. So I'm just marking 19 inches from the curve I created. So you can see I'm placing my tape on that curve and going down by 19 inches and also creating a curve at the base. I have a detailed tutorial for this, and you guys, yeah, I lost a lot of clip, and yeah, I don't know, you guys just let me know if you have any problem, and I'm just going to answer your questions. So now after cutting out those curves, this is what I have. This is the skirt here. This is going to be her round waist including zip allowance. And when I open this up, you're going to see like a full circle. So this is a full circle skirt, and I have the waist indicated here. So what I'll do now is cut out the band for this skirt, and I already did that. I folded my band into 2. It is 5 inches wide, and then I folded in 1/2 inch on the top and 1/2 inch on the base. And then after doing that, I folded in twice again to get 2 inches worth of band. So 5 inches wide. After folding 1/2 inch on the top and on the base, I folded it again. I got 2 inches width of band. I'll go ahead and sew the band to the skirt, and this is what I have after doing that process. Now the skirt is almost done. All we need to do now is attach the zip, and to do this I'm just going to, so I'll go ahead and divide her round waist by 2, and then I'll mark that so that the rest fabric that is left, I'll use that for the zip. So her round waist is 34 divided by 2 gives you 17. So I'll place my tape to confirm if this is 17. And here, this is 17. I'm just going to mark the 17 here. So the rest I'm going to be using for the zip allowance. And I'm just going to sew a straight stitch. But before then, I'm just going to mark where the zip will stop. From this top here, I'll go down by 7 inches. And that is where my zip will be stopping. Or that is where I'll be attaching the zip. I'll rule a line to indicate that this is the beginning and the stop point for the zip. And the rest, I'll go ahead and sew that in. Now this is the zip I'll be using to attach to the skirt, and while I'm sewing in the rest, I'll also sew in my zip, and I will show you guys what it looks like. And this is the end result. So this is the final result. The last thing for me to do for this 2-piece is hem the base of the skirts, and I'll be doing that right now. I'll take the skirt and I'll hem the base. And this is my beautiful client wearing the 2-piece. You guys should love this so much. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the process. Please let me know in the comment section. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. I love you guys so much. Bye for now.
My love, in the love, woman that can take your spot, my love.